We often think that a spiritual breakthrough is some far-off, mystical event, a sudden aha moment in which all becomes clear. But what if I told you that the signs of a spiritual breakthrough start long before that moment of clarity? What if I told you that the universe is already whispering to you, nudging you toward this transformation, even when you feel lost, confused, or stuck? In fact, those very feelings of disorientation and confusion are often the earliest signs that you're on the brink of a massive spiritual shift. It's like the calm before the storm. Except this storm is one of awakening, of seeing the world with new eyes, of transcending the limitations that have held you back for so long. But here's the thing, before that breakthrough happens, there's usually a period of intense discomfort. It's as if your soul is preparing to shed its old skin. But in the process, you're faced with everything that no longer serves you. You might feel like your life is falling apart, that nothing makes sense anymore. Relationships might crumble, your job might feel suffocating, or you might find yourself questioning everything you once believed in. Does this sound familiar? If so, you're not alone. This is a universal experience right before a breakthrough, a period of inner chaos as your old self begins to dissolve. I want you to pause and ask yourself right now, am I resisting the discomfort or am I embracing it? Because resistance is natural. It's human to want to cling to what's familiar, even when it no longer serves you. But true spiritual growth requires us to let go of the familiar, to step into the unknown with trust and faith. If you're feeling unsettled, if life seems to be throwing you curveballs left and right, understand that this is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It's a sign that something deeper is shifting within you.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lesson.
During this time, you might start to notice synchronicities, those strange, meaningful coincidences that seem too perfect to be random. You might see repeating numbers, hear the same song over and over, or encounter people who deliver messages that resonate deeply with you. These synchronicities are not just accidents. They're the universe's way of communicating with you, of saying, pay attention. You're on the right path. But here's the catch. You have to be open to receiving these messages. You have to be willing to see beyond the surface, to trust that there's a higher intelligence at play, guiding you toward your breakthrough. Have you ever had a moment where everything aligns so perfectly it feels like the universe is speaking directly to you? These moments are powerful, but they can also be fleeting. It's easy to dismiss them as coincidence or to get so caught up in the day-to-day grind that you miss them altogether. But if you're on the verge of a spiritual breakthrough, these signs will become more frequent, more intense. It's as if the universe is turning up the volume, trying to get your attention. And then there's the inner voice, that quiet, persistent whisper that tells you to keep going, even when everything seems to be falling apart. This voice is your higher self, the part of you that already knows where you're headed. It's the part of you that's been guiding you all along, even when you didn't realize it. But here's the thing, this voice can be easy to ignore, especially when the noise of fear and doubt gets louder. So I ask you, are you listening to that voice, or are you letting fear drown it out? Because fear will always be there, right before a breakthrough. It's part of the process. Fear is the mind's way of trying to protect you from the unknown, from stepping into territory that feels uncertain. But spiritual growth requires us to move beyond fear, to trust that what lies on the other side is worth the discomfort. And make no mistake, there is always discomfort before a breakthrough. The old self doesn't want to let go easily. It clings, it resists, it fights to stay in control. But the more you resist, the harder the process becomes. So, what do you do when you're in this space of uncertainty, when you feel like you're on the verge of something big, but you're not quite sure what it is? The first step is to surrender. Surrender to the process, even when it feels messy. Surrender to the unknown, even when it feels scary. Surrender to the discomfort, knowing that it's part of your growth. Because the moment you stop resisting, the moment you allow yourself to be fully present with whatever is happening, that's when the magic happens. That's when the breakthrough begins. Think about a caterpillar before it becomes a butterfly. It has to completely dissolve inside its cocoon before it can transform. It doesn't know what's happening, it just knows that something is changing. And in that process of dissolution, everything that it once was falls apart. But only through that process can it emerge as something entirely new. You too are in the process of dissolving the old to make way for the new. And it can feel terrifying. But just like the caterpillar, you're not meant to stay in that cocoon forever. You're meant to break free, to spread your wings and to soar. So, if you're feeling like everything is falling apart right now, know that it's because something new is about to be born. You might not know what that is yet, and that's okay. The important thing is to trust that it's coming. Trust that the discomfort you're feeling is a sign that you're on the right path. Trust that the universe has your back even when it feels like everything is crumbling. I want you to ask yourself one more question before we move on. Am I willing to let go of the old to make space for the new? Because that's what a spiritual breakthrough requires. It requires you to release everything that no longer serves you, even if it's painful, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it means stepping into the unknown. The more you let go, the more space you create for the new to enter. Let's continue our journey by diving into one of the most misunderstood aspects of a spiritual breakthrough, the dark night of the soul. If you've ever experienced a moment where everything feels bleak, where your inner world is turned upside down, and you're left questioning your entire existence, then you've likely encountered this powerful and transformative phase. But here's the thing many people don't realize. This darkness is not a punishment or a sign that you're on the wrong path. In fact, it's often a necessary precursor to spiritual awakening. The dark night of the soul is not just emotional pain. It's a deep, existential crisis that shakes you to your core. It's the type of experience that strips away everything you thought you knew about yourself, your life, and the world. It's as if the rug is pulled out from under your feet and you're left floundering in the unknown. But what if this darkness is actually a gift? What if it's the very thing that prepares you for the breakthrough that's on the horizon? I want you to reflect on something for a moment. What if the pain you've been avoiding is actually the key to your growth? So often, we run from discomfort. We distract ourselves, numb ourselves, or try to push through it without ever really sitting with it. But the dark night of the soul doesn't allow for that. It forces you to confront your deepest fears, your unresolved wounds, and the parts of yourself that you've neglected or denied. And while this can feel terrifying, it's also incredibly liberating, because only by facing the darkness within can we truly find the light. During this phase, you might feel a profound sense of loss of identity, loss of purpose, loss of meaning. It's as if everything you once relied on to define yourself has been stripped away, leaving you feeling naked and vulnerable. But this loss is not without purpose. It's creating space for something new, something more aligned with your true self to emerge. Often, the old parts of ourselves, the roles we've played, the beliefs we've held, the identities we've clung to, must die before we can be reborn. Have you ever experienced a moment where something you once loved or cherished no longer resonated with you? Maybe it was a job, a relationship, or even a spiritual practice that used to bring you joy but suddenly felt empty or meaningless. These moments can feel disorienting, but they're actually signs that you're growing. What once served you at an earlier stage of your life may no longer be in alignment with where you're headed, and that's okay. It's part of the process of evolution. But, of course, letting go is not easy. The human mind craves certainty and familiarity, and when those things are taken away, we often feel lost. This is where many people get stuck, clinging to the old out of fear of the unknown. But here's the truth. You can't cling to the old and invite the new at the same time. The dark night of the soul forces you to release your grip on the past, to surrender to the process of transformation, even when you can't see what's on the other side. The pain you feel during this time is not punishment. It's purification. It's as if your soul is burning away everything that's not in alignment with your highest self. And while the fire may be uncomfortable, it's necessary for your growth. This is why so many spiritual traditions speak of the importance of suffering in the path to enlightenment. It's not that suffering is inherently good, but that it has the power to strip away the ego, to dissolve the layers of illusion that keep us from seeing the truth. One of the most profound lessons of the dark night of the soul is the understanding that you are not your pain. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or even your experiences. These things are transient, they come and go, but the essence of who you are remains unchanged. This realization is often the turning point in a dark night experience. It's the moment when you begin to see that the pain is not something to be feared or avoided, but something to be embraced as part of the process of awakening. So I ask you, can you sit with your pain without trying to fix it, change it, or run from it? Can you allow yourself to fully feel whatever is arising within you, trusting that it's all part of the process? This level of surrender is not easy, but it's essential, because when you stop resisting, when you stop fighting against the discomfort, you create the space for healing to occur. And in that space, something miraculous begins to happen. The very pain that once felt unbearable starts to transform. It becomes a teacher, a guide, leading you deeper into yourself. During the dark night of the soul, you might also experience a profound sense of isolation. It can feel like no one understands what you're going through, like you're all alone in your suffering. But the truth is, this is a universally shared experience among those on the path to spiritual awakening. Countless mystics, sages, and spiritual seekers throughout history have walked through this dark night before reaching their moment of enlightenment. You are not alone in this journey, even if it feels that way. The darkness you're experiencing is part of the collective human experience, and it's leading you towards something greater. One of the gifts of the dark night is the realization that you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to know exactly how things will unfold or what the future holds. In fact, this need for certainty is often what keeps us stuck. True spiritual growth requires us to release the need for control, to trust that even in the darkness, there's a greater intelligence at work. This intelligence, often referred to as the universe, God, or the higher self, is guiding you every step of the way, even when you can't see it. So, here's another deep question for you. Are you willing to trust the unknown? Are you willing to let go of your need for certainty and allow yourself to be guided by something greater than your mind can comprehend? Because this is the essence of a spiritual breakthrough. It's not about figuring everything out or having all the answers. It's about surrendering to the mystery, trusting that the path will reveal itself as you walk it. As you move through the dark night of the soul, you may begin to notice subtle shifts. The pain starts to ease, the confusion begins to clear, and a new sense of clarity emerges. This is the beginning of your breakthrough. But remember, the breakthrough doesn't happen all at once. It's a gradual process, a slow unfolding. And the more you can surrender to that process, the more graceful and profound your awakening will be. Now, as we move forward, let's explore how you can navigate this transition with greater ease and wisdom, and how to recognize the signs that your breakthrough is just around the corner. So here we are. You've been through the darkness. You've faced the discomfort, the confusion, the fear. You've sat with your pain. even when it felt unbearable. And now, something is shifting. It might be subtle at first. A quiet sense of peace, a glimmer of clarity, a moment of stillness where there was once chaos. This is the beginning of your awakening. You are emerging from the dark night of the soul, and with it comes a profound transformation, a spiritual breakthrough that will change everything. But how do you know when you're on the verge of this awakening? What are the signs that the storm is finally passing and that you're stepping into a new chapter of your spiritual journey? One of the first signs is a deep sense of inner peace, even in the midst of external challenges. It's not that your problems have suddenly disappeared, but your relationship to them has changed. You're no longer reacting to life from a place of fear or anxiety. Instead, you're approaching it with a newfound sense of calm, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Think about this for a moment. What if everything that's happening in your life right now, even the things that seem difficult or painful, is happening for your highest good? This shift in perspective is one of the clearest signs that you're on the verge of a spiritual breakthrough. You begin to see that life is not something that happens to you, but something that happens for you. Every challenge, every obstacle, every moment of discomfort is an opportunity for growth, for expansion, for deeper understanding. When you start to view life through this lens, the need to control or resist begins to fade away. You trust the process because you know that the universe is always working in your favor, even when it doesn't seem that way. Another sign of awakening is a heightened sense of awareness. You begin to notice things that you never paid attention to before. The beauty of a sunset, the sound of the wind rustling through the trees, the way the light dances on the water. These small, seemingly insignificant moments take on a new sense of meaning and wonder. It's as if the world is suddenly more alive, more vibrant. This heightened awareness extends beyond the physical world too. You start to become more attuned to the energy around you, to the emotions and thoughts of others, and to the subtle nudges from the universe guiding you on your path. In this space of heightened awareness, synchronicities become even more pronounced. Those strange, meaningful coincidences that we talked about earlier, they start happening more frequently and with greater clarity. You might think of someone and then they call you out of the blue. You might be grappling with a question and the answer appears in the form of a book, a song, or a conversation with a stranger. These synchronicities are not random. They are signs that you are in alignment with the flow of the universe. When you're in this state of alignment, the universe speaks to you in subtle yet powerful ways, guiding you toward your breakthrough. But perhaps the most profound sign of awakening is the sense of oneness that begins to emerge. You start to realize that the separation you once felt from others, from the world, from the divine, was an illusion. You are not a separate, isolated being moving through a chaotic world. You are interconnected with everything and everyone around you. This realization brings with it a deep sense of compassion, both for yourself and for others. you begin to see that we are all on this journey together, each of us playing our part in the collective awakening of humanity. Ask yourself now, can I see the divine in everything? In the people I interact with, in the challenges I face, in the world around me? This shift in perception is one of the most powerful indicators that you're moving into a higher state of consciousness. You begin to see that everything is infused with the energy of the divine, and that you are a part of that divine energy. This realization is not just intellectual, it's something you feel deep within your being. It's a knowing that transcends words. As you continue to emerge from the dark night, you may also notice that your desires and priorities begin to shift. Things that once seemed important, material success, external validation, the approval of others, start to lose their hold on you. You're no longer driven by the need to prove yourself or to achieve some external goal. Instead, you're drawn toward experiences that nourish your soul. You might feel a pull toward nature, toward creativity, toward spiritual practices like meditation or yoga. You might find yourself seeking out deeper, more meaningful connections with others. This is because, as you awaken, you're aligning more with your true self, the part of you that is eternal, that is connected to the divine. But here's something important to remember. Awakening doesn't mean that life becomes perfect. It doesn't mean that you'll never face challenges or experience pain again. In fact, the challenges may continue to arise, but they will no longer define you. You'll have a new sense of resilience, a deeper trust in yourself and the process. You'll understand that challenges are not obstacles, they are opportunities for further growth and expansion. This is one of the most powerful gifts of a spiritual breakthrough, the ability to navigate life's ups and downs with grace and wisdom. Now, let's talk about intuition. As you awaken, your intuition becomes stronger. That quiet inner voice that you may have once ignored or doubted, it becomes louder, more insistent. You start to trust your instincts, even when they don't make logical sense. You begin to realize that your intuition is the voice of your higher self, guiding you towards your highest good. This is one of the greatest gifts of a spiritual breakthrough, the ability to trust yourself on a deep level, to know that you are always being guided, even when the path ahead is unclear. So, I ask you, are you listening to your intuition? Are you trusting the guidance that comes from within? The more you listen to this inner voice, the more aligned you become with your true self. And the more aligned you are, the easier it becomes to navigate the world with clarity and purpose. Another sign of awakening is a deep sense of gratitude. You begin to appreciate the simple things in life. The warmth of the sun on your skin, the laughter of a loved one, the feeling of being alive. This gratitude is not forced, it flows naturally from your heart. You start to see that life itself is a gift, and that every moment is an opportunity to experience that gift fully. Gratitude is one of the most powerful energies you can embody because it aligns you with the frequency of abundance. When you're in a state of gratitude, you're telling the universe, I am open to receiving even more of this goodness. And finally, perhaps the most beautiful sign of a spiritual breakthrough is the deep, unshakable sense of love that begins to fill your heart. This love is not dependent on external circumstances. It's not about romantic love or the love of friends and family, although those forms of love are important. This is a love that flows from within you, a love that is connected to the divine source of all creation. It's a love that transcends conditions, a love that embraces all of life, even the parts that are difficult or painful. This is the love that heals, the love that transforms, the love that is at the core of every spiritual awakening. So if you're feeling this love, this deep sense of connection with the world around you, know that this is one of the clearest signs that you're on the verge of a profound spiritual breakthrough. You are awakening to the truth of who you are, of being, of love, of light, of infinite potential. Now, as we move to the final part, let's explore how you can fully integrate this breakthrough into your daily life and continue to grow on your spiritual journey. Now that you've felt the shift, the awakening, the breakthrough, you might be wondering, how do I make this last? How do you take this newfound awareness, this sense of peace, love, and clarity, and carry it with you into your everyday life? Because the truth is, the spiritual journey doesn't end with the breakthrough. In many ways, it's just the beginning. The real work is in the integration, taking everything you've discovered in those moments of awakening and weaving it into the fabric of your daily existence. One of the most important things to understand about a spiritual breakthrough is that it's not something you achieve once and then forget about. It's a living, breathing process. It's something that requires nurturing, attention, and most importantly, practice. Just like any other skill or area of growth, your spiritual evolution deepens with consistent care. So how do you do that? First, you must create space in your life for stillness. It's in the stillness, in the quiet moments, that your connection to your higher self strengthens. Whether it's through meditation, mindful breathing, or simply sitting in silence, these moments allow you to tune back into the presence that you experienced during your breakthrough. The more you practice stillness, the more you'll find that sense of peace and clarity becoming a natural state of being rather than something you have to search for. But let me ask you a question. Are you willing to prioritize this stillness even when life gets busy or chaotic? Because the truth is, life will continue to throw challenges your way. There will be distractions, there will be moments when the outside world feels loud and overwhelming, but the more you commit to creating space for stillness, the more resilient you become. You'll find that, over time, you can carry that inner peace with you even in the midst of life's storms. Next, it's essential to stay grounded. After a spiritual breakthrough, it's easy to feel that you're floating in a new reality, disconnected from the physical world. But true spiritual growth requires a balance between the spiritual and the material. You are here in this body, in this physical world, for a reason. Part of your journey is learning how to embody this higher consciousness while still being fully present in your everyday life. One way to stay grounded is through mindful practices, whether that's walking in nature, engaging in physical exercise, or simply being fully present with your daily tasks. When you wash the dishes, feel the water on your hands. When you eat, savor each bite. These simple acts of mindfulness help to anchor you in the present moment, reminding you that spirituality is not separate from life, it is life. Another key to sustaining your spiritual breakthrough is community. Surround yourself with people who support your growth, who understand the journey you're on, and who can hold space for you as you continue to evolve. This doesn't mean you need to cut ties with everyone who isn't on the same path, but it does mean being intentional about who you spend your time with. Energy is contagious, and the more you surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, the more you'll be able to maintain your alignment with your higher self. And finally, trust the process. There will be times when you feel like you've taken a step backward, when old patterns or fears start to resurface. This is normal. Spiritual growth is not linear. It's cyclical. You may revisit old wounds, but each time you do, you'll approach them from a higher level of consciousness. You'll have more tools, more wisdom, and more love to bring to those parts of yourself that still need healing. So I ask you this, can you trust yourself through the ups and downs? Can you trust that even when things feel difficult, you're still on the right path? Because the truth is, you are. Every moment, every experience, even the challenging ones, are part of your spiritual evolution. The breakthrough is not a destination, it's a journey. And as long as you stay connected to yourself, to your higher wisdom, and to the love that flows through you, you will continue to grow, to expand, and to awaken. Remember, the universe is always guiding you. Trust in that guidance, trust in yourself, and most of all, trust in the process of your unfolding. You are exactly where you need to be, and that's it. The breakthrough is only the beginning, but the journey is yours to continue. Stay open, stay grounded, and stay true to the wisdom that lives within you.